Here's what's coming into view on Elevating Denver for November 2024. City Donation Drive provides community support.
The little things that we do really does have a great impact on the community.
One partnership has become the solution to behavioral needs.
The first success is coming in.
The Denver Central Library is reopening.
Celebrate and explore the newly renovated Central Library. These stories and more are just ahead on Elevating Denver.
The Denver Central Library is reopening on November 3rd. Good morning. This is our grand reopening after several years of renovation. We're really excited to welcome the public back into the Central Library, where folks can see the things they missed about the library from our closure, and they'll be able to experience a lot of new spaces and new cool stuff in our flagship location.
Oh, I think it's amazing. It's so much fun to be here. I didn't realize, and I'm really excited to see how many people are so excited about the reopening of the library.
We came out today for the grand opening of the Denver Public Library. So we've seen a lot of cool renovations to the spot. My nephews were able to explore the teen library.
Hi, welcome to the teen library. Thanks for stopping by.
Just encouraging the young readers to keep reading and to check out these cool places.
So when people walk in the doors, they'll be able to see our two grand staircases. We have a new event space, the Parkview event space, a new teen library. We're so thrilled about this, being able to provide services to teens. We have renovated our children's library. That opened in 2022, but is part of this project. All new public restrooms, new refreshed elevators throughout, and we removed all of our escalators. You'll be able to feel all around our grand hallway the changes that we've made, including adding a bunch of new study rooms and meeting rooms. We heard that from the community, that was a real need. We'll see just elevated furniture. We've really tried to take it up a notch. We've really tried to make sure that this, our flagship location, is really feels special to members of our community.
You know, this is tremendous for the Denver area, especially with this location. It's going to bring folks from all walks of life, whether adult learners, children's learners, and just folks looking for a safe place just to come and hang out and relax on a beautiful Denver day.
We really hope that people feel so connected to the library as they come in. I really want the Central Library to be our most welcoming building downtown, a real catalyst for change and inclusion and, relationship with the folks who are using our building and our spaces. We're really looking to provide an equitable experience for folks. We do see a lot of people who have a lot of needs in our community, and we want to make sure that they're able to participate in our society just as well as anyone else.
Libraries offer a lot more than just books, so I think it's really nice to have a community space where you can come and learn more about Denver and pretty much everything else. I love to read, so I generally come to the library for books, and I think it's really fun to come to a library without any idea of what book to get and ask about what I can get and what I can read and what other things that the library can offer. I expect to be here probably once a week. I think it's awesome, it's so big, there's so much more to offer than just books, so I think it's really exciting for anyone to come and experience it. There's just beautiful spaces, and it could be a great community.
I definitely will be back now that it has reopened. I'm in the area quite frequently, so I'm just happy that I won't have to go very far.
We're really excited for people to come back down. I've heard from people who haven't been here since they took a tour with their school group in 4th grade, and I've heard people who haven't been here for a decade. So what we're really going to try to be doing at Central is making something exciting for you to be involved in and engaged in every time you come down. So if you're looking for your genealogy, if you're looking for a house history, our special collections folks on the 5th floor can help you connect to that. If you're a teen and you want to come after school and hang out, we've got that for you too. If you're a young family with small children, we'll have story times for you. We have a great space to play and meet other parents. This building, I think, is just going to be really dynamic and activated. Hopefully, we'll get back to seeing about 2,000 people a day.
Doing this book with Gary was the most fulfilling professional experience I've had as a writer. Forget my 27-some years in journalism. Because Gary is the one, when we were writing it, you know, I was more the technocrat and Gary was more the cops reporter. Gary was the one that was always saying, this is going to make a great cops and robbers movie. And I said, Gary, you're right.
You know, in every revolution, someone has to fire the first shot. Open the safe, now! Now! Let's go!
Sheriff Laughlin, Terry Husk. I had a question about some flyers I keep seeing. White power. Is that the Aryan Nation?
You know what my problem is with every fanatic?
You have to have somebody to blame for your life.
Over 40 years ago, outspoken and controversial Denver radio host Alan Berg was targeted and murdered in an anti-Semitic attack by a group of white nationalists. While a reporter for the Rocky Mountain News, City Councilman Kevin Flynn co-authored a book, The Silent Brotherhood, which served as the inspiration for the upcoming film, The Order, that explores the connection between Berg's murder and a neo-Nazi movement that shocked the nation.
Killing Alan Berg was the crime that really set the FBI on the true trail, that this wasn't just armored car robberies or bank robberies or some counterfeiting that was going on. This was a targeted assassination. It was meant to send a message. 13 bullets for the guy lying there in the driveway, one of the biggest celebrities in town. He called himself the man you love to hate. I was at the Rocky Mountain News for 27 years, and I was deeply involved in covering the local politics. The shooting happened around 9:30 in the evening, and Gary Gerhardt, my partner in writing the book, was one of our cops reporters, and he had a lot of sources over across the street here in the police headquarters. And so I started developing sources in the, let's say, in the sort of the far right, white supremacist, white nationalist area. When they were able to tie the Alan Berg murder into the broader network of white nationalists and Klan, that all started here on Adams Street. So we started delving into this. We found Aryan Nations up in Idaho. We found the connection there. And it was frustrating because, you know, it's a newspaper you're writing for and the stories are this long. Here's what happened today. Who's telling the larger story? Where do these people come from? Why did they think they could do this? Why did they want to do this in the first place? That story needed to be told. Anybody who just read the daily newspaper clippings of this trial and did a little bit of background, they wouldn't understand the larger story of how this fit in a slowly bubbling and evolving fever dream of the white nationalists.
We don't advocate any of our members breaking any laws.
But some do.
Well, you must understand that. Being in a cult like the federal government.
We don't know much about how a movie's made, but Memorial Day week of 23, I called the producer and I said, can we come up and watch some of the filming for that week? And he said, oh, sure. And here we're thinking, when we get there, they're gonna say, sit over there, shut up, don't move. You know, you're here, but be quiet. It was the exact opposite. They treated us as though we were part of the company. Some of the cast members would come over and say, tell me more about this character I'm playing. They all had copies of the book. Jude Law, who plays the lead, we had an incredible conversation about some of the characters. Next day, his driver came back and said, you know, after your conversation, I drove him back to Calgary. I just have to tell you, all he talked about during the hour-and-a-half drive was your conversation about these characters that they're all involved in playing. I thought, well, he genuinely listened.
It's happening. War has begun.
You've drawn too much attention.
From who?
The FBI. I've warned you before. You are playing with fire.
The movie had its world premiere at the Venice Film Festival. The movie itself, given the topic and the subject matter, is very dark. It's very scary. It's not a fun movie. And the moment it was over, there was a feeling of, oh man, this isn't over, as we see today. And then people started applauding, and I'm sitting 6 rows behind Jude Law, so I got to see the 1,000 people who are sitting down on the floor level, and we're up in the balcony in the gallery, and they just started applauding and applauding, and it's like, wow, they liked it. Doing this book with Gary was the most satisfying professional experience I'd ever had. And so he passed away 8 years ago. And I had lunch with Nancy, his wife, before I went to Venice, and I asked her, can I take some of Gary's ashes along with me? She gave me just a little Ziploc with some of his ashes, and I put them in my jacket pocket. So he was with me in the theater during the premiere. And afterward, I went outside next to the Cinema Palace, and on the lawn there, I dug a little hole with a little spoon that Nancy gave me, and I put his ashes in the hole, and I covered it up, so Gary will be there forever. And that really means a lot to me.
It's very important to have someone that hears you and listens to what you say. Getting off parole, being homeless, doing drugs, to come from all of that and to be who I am today has been one heck of a fight. I was ready to change because I knew if I kept doing what I was doing, I was going to kill myself. At that time, I didn't have any value in life. I ran into these 4 ladies from the coalition. When I met them, and I came here, and I started getting assistance with resources, you know, and that helped out quite a bit. Well, I appreciate it.
A number of years ago, WellPower and the city of Denver were noticing some gaps in services and just thinking about different and better ways to serve the community. And one of those ideas was the Behavioral Health Solution Center. The Solution Center opened in May of 2021. It became one of the first centers in the nation that was really dedicated to first responders having a safe place to bring people that were experiencing a behavioral health crisis 24/7.
It's really important for the city to support programs like the Solution Center because they meet people where they are based on their level of need and different support services.
In a lot of other cities across the nation, jails and hospitals become the de facto mental health providers for those experiencing behavioral health crises, especially those that are also experiencing homelessness. And the city of Denver, with WellPower, really wanted to change that.
DDPHE is committed to helping people empower themselves to live better longer, and that could mean a variety of different things for different people. We did do a behavioral health needs assessment in 2022 that showed that we are seeing increases in people having challenges with their mental health, whether it's depression, anxiety, or suicidal ideation, even substance use. We had a lot of these challenges before COVID, but this assessment also showed that people really increased those things during COVID as well. What we do know is that a lot of people need different supports, and people want a different variety of support. So this is one specific program that supports a specific population and people that are in a behavioral health crisis.
The Solution Center is made up of 3 different programs. There's a drop-off center where first responders can drop folks off 24/7, and that person receives crisis assessment in triage. We have a crisis stabilization clinic that provides treatment and crisis stabilization for 4 to 5 days. And then we have a transitional shelter where folks have their basic needs met, so they have a safe place to stay and they can continue focusing on their recovery.
When I got here to this center and stuff, there was staff that would actually take time out and listen to me and actually hear what I was saying. With that, it motivated me to become who I am today. I got 16 months clean from meth. I want to keep going that way. I feel a heck of a lot better than myself. I listened and heard what people were trying to tell me, about my walk, you know, and how to accept things, because I'm not used to accepting positive input from people. I'll get used to it eventually, you know.
You know, success really, I think, from a citywide perspective, we want to make sure that we're able to provide the right resource at the right time. I think that's the overarching. But then in that, we also need to be individualized enough to recognize that we can't have cookie cutter responses to everything, and really working with folks to figure out what it is that they need for themselves to really support their stability and long-term well-being.
The first success is coming in. That's a really big deal to agree to come here and ask for help. After that, there's a lot of different wins. And that's really fun to get to see and to get to figure out with every individual person.
One of the biggest things that I want to do for my dad before my dad dies is do something that he can be proud of me for. And sorry, but that's the main drive. But the big story, want to keep climbing the stairs to success.
The City of Denver have been wonderful partners to WellPower, and we've really been able to work together to create something special. And what I love is that this partnership allows us to continue building new relationships, finding new resources, and both parties are just so dedicated to the citizens of Denver and making sure that they have access to the care that they really need in that moment.
My favorite part of the impact is just the immediate joy that we see on the faces of the clients and the customers that we serve when we're able to provide families and young people with things. You know, in some cases, this may be the only holiday gift that they receive.
The Be a Giver Holiday Gift Drive was created in order to support families and individuals who are in need of some extra support for the holidays. As a lot of us probably know, we face a lot of stress and sometimes isolation when it comes to the holiday time because of our financial or maybe even family situations. And through this drive, we're hoping to avoid some of that stress and be able to provide some of that holiday cheer.
So the job of a caseworker is probably one of our most important jobs at Denver Human Services. Our caseworkers are one of the backbones of the work that we do. In regard to this program, our caseworkers are also one of our biggest sources of providing customers for the holiday drive and the gifts that we give out. So they make referrals to us and ensure that the folks that they're working with have everything that they need for the holiday season.
Nominations officially started about a month ago, so this is when we ask our internal caseworkers to send us information on clients. And then starting November 1st, we open up our registration form for our community donors. This is how our lovely donors can sign up to sponsor a family, a single teen/child, an older adult, or an adult with disabilities. And so what that means is that the donor receives an email with all the information that the caseworker has shared with us so that they can shop on behalf of these clients and provide them with that holiday cheer. And during that time as well, we open up our wish list both on Amazon as well as provide a PDF document where we list out some of our most wanted toys or gifts that we then make available to our caseworkers. Or the way that people can do that is through our website, denvergov.org/give, being able to provide personalized gifts, but some of those generalized gifts are both important in their own way. It can seem that your $5 donation or that donating this $1 isn't going to make an impact, but for some people it will mean the world. And I just hope people realize that their contribution is immensely appreciated.
So the old cultural adage, it takes a village, is definitely at play here. We partner with our community and are always seeking donors and volunteers to help the program.
We work with our partners in Denver County through Denver Good Deeds, as well as partnering with our community partners in general who are, doing very much of the same work together, but it's just lending a helping hand to one another. The Denver Santa Claus Shop is excited who have been partnering with Denver Human Services for over the last 20 years. They are looking to provide over 14,000 gifts to children this year alone, and their motto is a toy for every boy or girl. So many of our families are facing homeless insecurities, and much more than that, food insecurities. Many times benefits by themselves aren't enough.
As lovely as it is to be able to provide people with gifts, food is just as important, and by being able to provide families or individuals with food gift cards, it provides them with a lot of that autonomy that they lose when they're facing some of these hardships. They can go to the stores themselves and pick out foods that are culturally sensitive. They can actually make a meal with their family members.
Additional immediate needs that we're always needing are, clothing. As well as on the programmatic side, we always welcome folks to help us volunteer.
Volunteers are a pillar to this program and one of the most important parts to make a lot of this work possible.
The little things that we do really does have a great impact on the community. My favorite part is seeing the smiles on people's faces. They're so grateful that there's somebody there that actually cares.
I would have to say my favorite part is that week of donor drop-offs, being able to see the donors in person, provide their neatly wrapped gifts with their bows. It's just so heartwarming and humbling to be able to know that these donors have absolutely no connection to this individual, but that they went above and beyond in providing them with that great holiday experience. It's beautiful.
This team is a small team, but they're very mighty. And to see the amount and the level of work that they do to bring community, gifts, partners together to make this effort happen year after year is one of the most astounding things that I've seen.
Just something that I really, really am proud of as an employee of Denver Human Services and someone who also comes from this community. Watching people come together the way that we do during this time is very fulfilling.
You'll see that little thing that you've done has a great impact on the community, and I guarantee you'll be back to help again.
I was just another statistic to the system, just another kid that got shot and he's going to run back to the streets, or another kid that's just in jail. If it wasn't for Fly, I feel like I would have found myself back doing illegal things, probably back in jail or probably dead.
Fully Liberated Youth exists to provide full, holistic, and empowering services to young people who find themselves system involved or at high risk of system involvement to really bring about liberation in and through their life.
Yeah, they helped me find a purpose in living every single day instead of going out and risking my life every single day. I grew up in Southwest Denver, specifically Westwood neighborhood. My mom was a single mom with 5 of us. I was really just looking for love. I think that's my biggest thing, just love and acceptance. I started getting involved with the street life and gang life probably around 8th grade, so 13-ish. I feel like it was very easy to fall in that life just because, one, that's all I've ever known. My dad was a gang member, my brother's gang members, all my friends have been gang members. That is where I found love, was doing all these illegal things and drinking all the time and doing drugs and stuff like that. Yeah, just felt like a community. So June 22nd, 2019, I got shot in my leg and the bullet almost hit my femoral artery. So that was kind of like a wake-up call for me. Yeah, I didn't want to die.
When I first met Keen, I saw passion, ambition, a desire for transformation in his life. All of our services really are centered on youth that find themselves deeply gang involved, so generational family of gang involvement, deep cyclical cycles of trauma, generational trauma, and aspects of poverty. Most of our young people are experiencing racially oppressive systems So we come in and we provide full holistic services, mentorship, case management, therapy, individual, family, and really focusing on like the full holistic liberation of that young person and their community. We center on relationships, and I think we never want to take relationships for granted, and out of relationships really is the stewarding piece of systemic and relational reform. It's the piece that really guides us into every other direction we choose to go as an organization. And ultimately, I think programs like FLY are essential because they're creating and bringing about liberation in our own life, in the young people's lives that we're serving, and in our community.
They understand that the issues that the young people and their families are going through didn't just happen overnight and are not happening for no reason. And so what we're asking for is some pretty serious changes from the young people and their families. And the only way someone's going to be able to do that is by starting off with a strong relationship, with someone who they trust, with someone who can help them break out of whatever cycle they might be in. In FLY, that's what they do.
So today we're doing FLY's annual block party where we have community vendors and youth come out and showcase their businesses or talents or skills. We have barbers here, sneaker stores, clothing brands, local coffee shops. Expect to feel like a part of the family and have some fun.
Seeing the transformation and restoration in Keen's life, it gets me emotional because I think of Keen and I think of countless other young people who both are not here today, and also the young people who we've seen that restoration and liberation in their life like Keen. I think it takes a level of understanding, commitment, and proximity to those stories and to those lives to really find that the liberation and transformation is mutual. Like, I'm being impacted and affected by the life of Keen, just like Keen is being impacted and liberated by our relationship.
Organizations like FLY oftentimes work with young people who are really, they're caught up in the system. They're coming from very marginalized places in our community and oftentimes get into trouble. People often ask, well, why are we funding work for these sort of people? It's almost like a blaming sort of, well, if they're involved with this, then they should get the consequence that they deserve. So a public health approach, a relationship approach that looks at the factors that were involved with the young person getting involved in this sort of behavior, they're not excuses. We all have to experience the consequences of what we do. But what they are good explanations that give us an understanding of why someone might have gone in this direction. And if we just let them continue in that direction, it's going to cost our community millions of dollars in lost productivity, in prison time, in not finishing education, et cetera. So if we can help organizations like FLY break that pattern, help young people break out of that sort of cycle, it's just going to benefit the entire community, not only in the human dimension, but also financially too.
1, 2, 3, fly!
My life now is much better than it used to be. I still struggle with some things, but I have a beautiful son, Saint. He is 2 years old, a beautiful wife, Destiny. We take care of her sister who has special needs. Feels like I'm a provider now. I have Chris, my clothing brand. And it just feels good to be the man that I needed when I was younger to like a lot of these kids.
Stay elevated by subscribing to the city's YouTube page for these stories and more. And stay tuned to our social media channels for more content. Don't miss our new episodes of Elevating Denver, premiering each month. Thanks for watching, Denver.